Welcome to the So Social Radio Show. I'm your host, Richard Martin, along with my amazing co-host,
Cheri Martin, and we are the WCN Interactive Team, business growth, marketing, and social media strategists, helping you to
dream it, plan it, build it, and most importantly, successfully do it.
That's right, Richard, for that growth, prosperity, and success. And each Wednesday at 12 noon on TalkNetworkRadio.com, we share tips and techniques to grow you and your business, plus demystify social media and marketing for you so you can have more fun.
And my favorite, more profits.
Absolutely. And we are very happy to be here with our listening audience today on Wednesday, March 8th. And I want to remind you to please do connect with us on Facebook on the So Social Radio Show. We do, of course, have a pinned post there with our guest expert today. We're very excited to have with us an expert graphic artist and brand specialist calling in from the South Florida area. So we'll do an official introduction of Jonathan here in just a few moments, but we want to make sure you do give us a like there on So Social Radio Show. Let us know what topics you'd like to hear a conversation on. You know, we're all about education, and we want to bring you what you want to learn. But before we do get started today, Richard, should we give a shout out for our sponsors and partners?
Absolutely so. I want to start out with Toastmasters, a world leader in communications and leadership development. Find out how you can improve your speaking and leadership skills. Visit toastmastersd84.org, toastmastersd84.org.
Also, Constant Contact. We are a partner with them. They are an award-winning company empowering small businesses and nonprofits to grow and succeed through email marketing. Perfect for your small business here. If you want to especially send out some newsletters on a weekly or a monthly basis, it's a great way that you can truly be a marketer with that one toolkit, one login. You can get a 60-day free trial to check it out and see what it's all about and actually start growing your marketing list. Just go to bit.ly/WCN free CTCT. That's bit.ly/WCN FREECTCT.
And everythingbrevard.com, a Brevard County, Florida community website, keeping you up to date with everything that's happening in Brevard, and get your business listed on everythingbrevard.com too.
We also want to give a shout out to our parent company, which is WCN Interactive, and that's why we are here. Parent company, WCN Interactive, is our Winners Consultant Network. We do a lot of branding, marketing, strategic, social media strategic plans, and we have a very exciting workshop that we're going to be presenting next Thursday here in the Brevard County area. You can go look at all the information, the details on our website, and that's at WCNinteractive.com/workshop. Just click on workshops there in the navigation, and it'll have our featured workshop. It is next Thursday. That's a week from this Thursday, not tomorrow, on March 16th, and it is a half-day seminar. And we're actually going to show you how to put together a marketing strategy, and you will leave that workshop with a strategy, a social media strategy in place, so you too can start getting the results you desire. So we're very excited about that workshop. Limited seats, and so go to WCN Interactive and click on workshops and get the full details.
And Cheri's been working hard on this. This is going to be a really, really good one.
It's my favorite. I love sharing those social media strategies. But I do want to get started with our show today and the official introduction of our guest today. Jonathan Pleska, you're here with us right now, calling in. You there?
I am right here.
Awesome. Well, let me go ahead and let everyone know how awesome you are. Your Jonathan is a very good friend of ours. We've actually had him on our radio show. It's been a little over a year before you were even married. Now he's an old married man. But he is the CEO and co-founder of Geared Agency, where ideas move. Geared Agency specializes in creative, memorable, and impactful brand stories through graphic, print, and web design. Over his career, he has worked with many prestigious clients. This is an impressive list, guys. This is not everybody, but this includes NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NCAA, Coca-Cola.
And you know what all those mean?
I do. And Disney, as well as NRA and Honda, and of course, many, many more. Jonathan's experience and knowledge of creating projects for these companies has transferred over to how he approaches his business and his clients' ideas, brands, products, and marketing. And when we first met Jonathan, he had just become an author, a co-author of the book Journeys Forward, which I have his autograph on. Woo-hoo. So welcome, Jonathan, to the So Social Radio Show. We're just so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very excited to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit. How's that married life treating you?
Married life is great. I will tell you right now, I'm probably the luckiest man to be alive.
Aww.
I'm very happy to be with my wife. She is a goofball like me, and we have a lot of fun, and I look forward to every day with her.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know that you both are just a sweet couple. Enjoyed seeing all those fun wedding pictures when you posted them on social media when I saw them. So it's a great way to stay connected, especially since you've moved out of the Merritt Island area where you went to school here, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I went to I went to a private school from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So, yeah, it was nice to finally get out of the area and explore some different areas.
Well, we're happy to have our So Social Radio Show here right in Merritt Island with TalkNetworkRadio.com. So happy to be in your hometown as we speak to you down in the South of Florida area. So I guess before we get started, we're going to be having, our topic today is on the brand foundation, or the foundation of branding. And so I'd love to just have you provide to our audience, first of all, what exactly is a brand?
All right. So a brand is, a lot of people kind of get confused with this. Your brand is not your logo. It's not your tagline. It's not your website. It's not your look, but all of those things contribute to actually creating the idea of a brand around you. Your brand really is about your reputation. It is about consistency. It is about making sure that when people talk about you, it's always in a positive light. And the best way I can really describe this is, if your life was in the newspaper every day, what would you want it to say? So anything that you can kind of contribute. Anything you can contribute to making sure that that is a positive message through the look of your company, through the message of your company, through the things that your company is doing in the ways of giving back, through the ways of creating value for your clients. That is really what your brand is all developed within. But that's probably the best way I can kind of describe that. And a foundation for your brand, the one thing that the best way I can illustrate that is, let's say, you have this idea for your company and you want it to be this massive, massive company in your head. You want to make sure that the foundation for your brand core, is strong enough to hold that foundation. You don't see millionaires building a giant mansion on a foundation that's meant for a 3-room house, right? You want to make sure that foundation can hold that mansion. And
Jonathan,
it's the same thing with your brand. Yes.
Yeah, would you describe a little bit more in detail about the foundation, somebody's either personal or business foundation?
Okay. Well, a great way that I can kind of describe this is consistency. You want to make sure that your message is truly consistent throughout everything that you do. A great example to really look at for a brand foundation, look at Apple. Apple has brought amazing products to consumers, and their idea was to be able to create products that were very simple to use that can do everything. That was their plan, and they wanted them to look sleek and sophisticated and sexy and simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they built out their foundation, they didn't focus on the what as much as they really focused on the why. Why are they doing this? So they really focus in on the idea of why they went about creating these products, and it's really to change the landscape of the world, to change how we interact with things, how we interact with people, how we interact with technology. And through that foundation, they've been able to create products that go with that mission. Go ahead.
What I'm hearing then is that when you're focusing on the foundation of your brand, you're really thinking of, and I loved how you said that with Apple, and it is so true, and I see this in many large brands, you're focusing on how you can best serve the client's needs. That's that why.
Absolutely.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
You want to make sure that you figure out your why before you even figure out the why. Why are you getting into business for yourself? Why are you trying to build something? Does it even make sense? If it's just to make money, then there's no point. But if you're focusing on creating value and changing lives, then the money will come, and you never really have to worry about it as much. Another good example, a lot of people get freaked out talking about politics, but a great example of brand consistency was our last election. Look at Donald Trump compared to Hillary Clinton. If you look at Donald Trump right from the gate, his tagline, "Make America Great Again." Mm-hmm. He never shifted or swayed from that, ever. And the people that followed him, that audience grew and grew and grew. And if you look at Hillary, she started with "I'm with her," and then she changed to "Stronger Together," and there was so much inconsistency within her campaign. And I felt like because of that, she ended up losing her audience because she couldn't stand her ground. Mm-hmm. She didn't know exactly what her true message was. So that goes back to having a strong brand foundation from the start. You want to make sure that it is rooted with enough strength to be able to push you forward to where you want to go.
Very well said. Very well said. And I know that we have mentioned that before in our show, how that really did win the election for Donald Trump. I mean, if you ask somebody what Hillary's tagline was or what her, as you say, the foundation was, many people couldn't tell you. He was a master marketer and knew how to brand, and that's exactly why. And I truly believe he continues doing that as president as well.
No, he is. The whole debate thing that's going on now is all about Trump's brand pushing what he wants to accomplish, whether you agree with him or not.
Exactly.
That's not
Love
my
or
point.
hate him, it doesn't matter.
He's pushing it through his brand that he's built, and these politicians don't have a brand for the most part.
Nope.
At least a good one.
It's a very good example. And again, like you said, it's not to get into the political arena, but it's to understand why things happen and why people are winners and some are not. Mm-hmm. And if you want your business to win, you need to understand this foundation exactly. And to me, it's a perfect way to copy somebody in your own style and get that message
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, and discovering your why, to me, is that's not a simple task. Well, no. I want to do it because I want to make money, like you said. That's not going to cut it. Well, I want to do it to help people. Well, that's better, but it's still not there. Can you go deeper into that process, Jonathan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really figuring out your why can really kind of shape your brand moving forward. A good example is when you start to kind of shape your why, it helps you to kind of shape your mission statement of everything else that you want to do. And then from there, you're able to craft all the other things. You could start looking at brand personality, you start looking at tone, voice, all of those other things to be able to really speak to your audience. That's really important thing, is making sure whichever audience you are really going after, you have to appeal to them. You may love your brand, but they may not like it. And that's a really important lesson to learn, is really figuring out, okay, is this brand actually speaking to the audience that I want to work with? Because that's the other thing. You have to really figure out who you want to work with, because we can have clients in our lives, but they're the wrong client. We're not meant to work with them. You know, it's just not the right fit. And if you want to figure out who the right client is, a great example is sometimes I'll figure out a really good client that I love to work with, and I kind of draw a picture of them and put them on my wall, and I list out traits that I really like about that client, and then that helps me to kind of define who I want to work with and to start attracting those types of people into our lives to be able to work with and help. And it took me about 5 years to kind of learn that, but it's been an invaluable lesson.
Very important point there. And what I'm hearing again, going back, developing your brand story, and you're true to that story, is what's going to really resonate with those you truly want to attract.
Absolutely. Look at Disney. Disney is an amazing example of brand story. Everything that they do is surrounded by magic. All right? Everything that you experience has this level of magic, whether it's subtle in the sense of making you feel joy, or whether it's a little more intense and realizing that all of the money in your wallet is gone. There is a level of magic throughout everything that Disney does. And that, you know, if you ever want to look at a brand that has really kind of pushed those boundaries, I would say Disney's always one to kind of, you know, put in your back pocket of saying, okay, how can I create that level of magic?
I was doing some research.
For my clients.
Yeah, I was doing some research for the show, and according to the people in Google and all that kind of stuff, Disney is the number one brand in the world. It's recognizable. You know, everybody knows about it probably from a 2 or 3 year old on up on doing that. But you know, you said it perfectly there. They don't focus on Disney. They focus on the experience that you're going to have at Disney, and that's their driving force in all of their parks.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much. Well, what are some of the important factors that one needs to consider when, you know, having like you or an agency design their brand identity? What are some of the things that you seek to find out from the business person, you can help them develop that brand identity?
Well, one of the things that is probably the most important to me is actually listening to the person that you're working with. You need to figure out what they want, what their goals are, what are they looking for, what their voice is. You know, really get to know that person, that company, that group of people. And once you get to know them, and once you really kind of dive deep into their wants and needs and build out a plan to achieve those wants and needs, then the magic really happens. That's how everything kind of comes about. But until you actually sit down and listen to them, nothing really comes about. I mean, I've seen so many different agencies and artists and graphic companies, and they'll just focus on their bottom line and try to sell them thing after thing after thing. And sometimes they don't need all that stuff. It's really just figuring out, okay, what do you really need to get you to this place? And let's focus on those pieces. And then as you grow, we can look at some other ideas moving forward. You know, there's no point in trying to focus on the bottom line if at the end of the day you're not creating value for that client.
Yeah, profits, at least last time I was in business school, it was a result. It wasn't the aim. It was the benefit of doing things in the proper way.
Yep. Yeah, and that, as you said, that goes all the way back to your brand foundation. Why are you doing what you're doing? You know, that's what it really all kind of centers around. And when you figure out that why, you figure out the how, and you figure out the what, and everything else comes into place.
How do you address a client that comes to you that has had a brand, but they want to make some changes on that brand? Maybe they're shifting away from their passion. Maybe they've created something new and they want to take a brand and kind of mix what they have with the new brand. What are some of your suggestions or recommendations to companies that do that? I know you're going through some shifting in your business and creating some new things.
Yeah.
So what approach did you take?
Well, one of the things that I love to do with clients is, sometimes not everybody's ready for a full rebrand. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to do a brand audit. I like to figure out and look at every single aspect that is currently with that business that you're using, whether it's your website, your business cards, your brochures, your logo, your colors, your tagline, your typefaces. Look at every single aspect of your brand and analyze it and give you feedback based upon, okay, if this were me, this is what I would do to enhance the current brand that you have to move forward. And if you do these things, then you should have some better results in the long run. But that's what I would do personally compared to, just saying, okay, no, you need an entire rebrand. Mm-hmm. Usually we don't. We just need a little tweak, mm-hmm. just to turn the dial a little bit to figure out, okay, let me make that shift to be able to change one thing to improve the overall business stance.
So is it difficult for someone to put a new logo? I know the logo is not the brand, but it actually is their message that they're pushing out there. Is it, if they do a complete change on that, do they need to make sure that they're getting the message with that?
I will tell you, it's all, it can be risky sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the reason, I'll give you an example. Tropicana was a really good example. When Tropicana changed their identity, their box from the orange with a straw in it, and they changed it, and it almost made it look a little more generic mm-hmm. to like a store brand. Mm-hmm. Their profits were shot. They lost tons and tons of sales, and they ended up having to revert back to where they were. So that's where I would say, sometimes it's not the logo that needs to be changed, but there's certain other tweaks that need to be changed moving forward. But yeah, there are times where it can be the logo. Sometimes the logo might be the reason that your voice is not the voice that's being heard by your audience. Mm-hmm. And we have to look at that aspect. But until we do that brand audit, it's hard to really determine that.
Very good. Now, I understand that you would like to extend to our listening audience today an offer to let you help with if you want to share that with the brand audit.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we do, like I said before, we do a brand audit for our clients. And the idea of that is I've learned that a lot of people aren't just ready. They're not ready to kind of jump into a rebrand. So what we do is we look at your current brand and figure out what we can tweak to improve the overall life and voice of that brand. So we look at everything from the logo to the colors to your typefaces to your personality for the brand to your web space to your marketing to your brand collateral. We look at every single aspect and figure out what's working, what's not working, how can we improve, and build a plan to improve everything. Usually we sell this to our clients for about $4.97, but on the show today, if you mention the social radio show in your message to me or in your call to me, that price is $249.
Oh, wow.
And how that works is that if you decide that you do want to work with us, that $249 actually goes towards your deposit of being able to work with us to rebuild those pieces. So even if you decide that you don't want to work with us, you gain a ton of value to be able to take to whomever you do work with to be able to make those changes.
Oh, that's fabulous, Jonathan. Thank you so much. Now, how can they message you, and where should they message you?
Well, there are a couple places. You can, if you want to go to our website, you can actually schedule a consultation call with us. That's a great way to do it. You can go to my LinkedIn page, which is just Jonathan Pluska, and you can, besides seeing tons of testimonials from past work, you can reach out to me, send me an invite to connect, if you do send me an invite to connect, make sure you do a unique message saying that you heard me on the So Social radio show so we can connect that way. Or just send me a message saying that you're interested in that offer, and I'd love to be able to start. The other way I would say is just by email. If you reach out to me at Jonathan, JONATHAN, at gearedagency.com, you can connect with me that way as well, and we can discuss moving forward.
Awesome. And do you want to spell gearedagency.com since that's your website as well?
Sure. That's G as in gopher, E as in Edward, A as in Alex, R as in rear, E as in Edward, D as in dog, agency.com.
Awesome. And I will definitely post this on our SoSocialRadioShow.com webpage on the guest page there with Jonathan's information where you can learn more about Jonathan, as well as on our So Social Radio Show on Facebook on that pinned post, so that you'll have that information. Because, Jonathan, that is a phenomenal offer, because I know the detail that you put into that brand audit. And they're going to walk away with a tremendous tool that they'll be able to use and also get to know you a little bit better. So which then they can feel comfortable having you complete this for them. So thank you.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
it takes a special eye to be able to do something like that too. It doesn't come with just getting out of school with a marketing degree or an art degree. There's a lot of experience that goes into that and intuitiveness from having dealt with other clients of the stature that you deal with.
And I can let our listening audience know that I truly trust Jonathan with our clients' brand and logos and such, because I know we have referred him some business, and I actually was on his LinkedIn this week and saw one of our clients that gave a raving testimonial there, the tea lady. And he did a tremendous job on developing her logo. And again, he developed that from her personality, getting to know her, because I know how she is and the type of person she is, and it fit her perfectly. So it's beautiful. So I definitely recommend you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On that. We must develop a brand, correct?
I would say so, yes.
On that. So you say begin with the why. Is it why Richard is sitting here wants to do it, or is it why inside the business realm, or how are we positioning that, from small business folks, not Coca-Cola or PepsiCo or something like that?
Well, I would say that, a couple things to mention there. First of all, if you don't brand yourself, other people will brand you. And you don't want to have other people brand you when you can have full control over what you want your voice to be. And what I mean by that is reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that your reputation is sound and that you take care of that aspect. The other thing that I would say on that piece is branding is really all about experiences. What type of experiences are you having your clients, your customers have when they visit your website, when they visit your social media, when they connect with you initially? Like, what type of experience are they having? Do they realize that you're just trying to sell to them, or are you actually trying to connect with them? Everything that is put in place that we build for our clients is all about bringing an experience, a positive experience, a magical experience. And for example, like when we build web spaces for our clients, we focus on what is the actual goal for the website. Are you trying to make direct sales on the website? Are you trying to have your clients call you from the site? Are they trying to schedule appointments with you? What is it? What do you want to do? And target everything to that specific goal. And that's all about creating that funnel, right? Starting from one place to another place to another place, and just having them lead from one to the next to the next. But without that hand-holding, it's kind of going to fall apart. You want to make sure that hand-holding system is in place with your marketing, with your message, with all of the experiences to be able to guide your customers to being able to actually purchase from you.
Well, what are some of the elements that are needed then to really create that marketing-focused web presence?
Well, one of the things I'd love to do is I'd love to be able to create maybe ebooks, right? Ebooks are a great way to be able to, and they don't have to be long books. They don't have to be like 100 pages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be something that's 5 pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that provides a lot of value for your client from the get-go for questions they may have, so it doesn't waste your time, right? You get to answer the questions that are most asked instantly without them having to waste your time with a call. And then when they connect with you, you already have a level of trust with them because they've gotten some information that is of value. A great way to look at this is, let's say you see, I have to say before I say this, I apologize to my wife, but let's say you're at the beach, right? And Richard could probably relate. But you're at the beach and you see this smoking hot woman, right? She's absolutely gorgeous, right? So, and she's giving you the 90% because you can see pretty much her entire body. But you know what? She's giving you all of that value, but what you really want is the 10%, right? You want the 10% that's covered. So what I'm saying to you is, how do you create the experiences that give your client the 90% of the value, but they call you back to gain that 10%? That's really the key. And that's what we help our clients with.
Now, if anybody can't understand that.
Well, as a woman, I can understand that when I'm thinking of a man. I pictured a man when you said that.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Think of Hugh Jackman. There you go. A great example, because Logan is out in theaters now. So think of Hugh Jackman in that Speedo for yourself, and just think that value piece that you're wanting to sell your clients is that Speedo, and they want to take that Speedo off. How do they get that Speedo, right? But you have to create enough value for them to want to connect with you on that level.
I love that example because it's clean enough to not be, but it's suggestive enough to understand it completely. So to me, that was just the perfect example for how to provide value to and sharing relevant and information to your clients or prospective clients so that they can't wait to know more about you. I love it.
But your message there was so spot on from a business perspective.
Yeah.
You want the phone to ring. You want to get emails in. You want. And you have to think of it from that seductive manner. I love that.
With your permission, I might try to bring this into my next email marketing workshop when they're talking about a subject line, because I share one of the best subject lines I ever used on an email where I think I had a 99% open rate on it. It was in the subject line. I said, Richard can't keep his pants up. And I mean, everybody on our list knows us. We're in business together, but we're also married, right? Well, it went on, and the body of the email shared how Richard had taken 60 pounds off, and he literally couldn't keep his pants up, but it was suggestive enough to make them want to know more. So I love that. That really makes me smile, and I think it's a phenomenal example. So thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about royalties afterwards. I don't mind.
Oh, goodness.
So I guess, what is, or how can the initial investment of creating that brand foundation pay off then? I know you're putting all that information together, and you've gone through the process. How can it really pay off for you?
Creating the right brand foundation can help lead you to attract the right partners, the right customers, and the right circumstances to help you grow at the right pace. That's really what it's all about. You have to figure out, okay, who do you want to work with? Who do you want to partner with? What type of circumstances do you envision yourself having with this brand? And let's create something that will help you achieve all of those goals. That's really the key, is creating something that almost makes it look bigger than what you are, right? Mm-hmm. If you look bigger than what you are, you're going to attract some high-level partners that will help grow your business at an astronomical level. And that is a huge, huge benefit. I mean, being in the entrepreneurial world, especially when I started, I can relate in the sense that it is lonely. It can be extremely lonely. And you're trying to build something and you have no idea where to start. And having that right brand foundation will help bring those quality partners into your life to make things so much easier for yourself. So that is why I say it's absolutely critical to have the right foundation from the get-go.
Very well said.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and that foundation is just as hard to build as the whole brand process itself, because that's where you're actually one-on-one with somebody, and you're trying to get them to help you or give you advice in some manner, and you've got to lay your soul out there and tell them your personal why, and that's not an easy task unless you've spent a number of hours, days even maybe, refining your why to where it is magnetic, to where it is attracting people to want to know more.
A great way to, actually, I want to add to that, Richard, and this is just a value statement for clients or possible clients or just your listeners. I don't know if you've ever heard of Simon T. Bailey, but one of the things that he says, and that I absolutely love and I just take to heart, when you want to figure some of these things out, you really need to ask yourself 3 questions. And those 3 questions are, what would I do if nobody paid me to do it, right? Figure out what you love and how can you actually create wealth with what you love. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If it was an absolute key sure thing that you're going to be successful at what you do? And what makes you come alive? When you talk about it, it's energy. People gravitate towards positive energy. If you have so much energy that you can't hold it in, and you love talking about it and being able to create value for people, then those people are going to connect with you. And they're eventually going to become your customers, and you don't have to work for it because you've already connected with them. They've already emotionally invested in you.
I can hear Simon T. Bailey saying that on the stage. I think we may have been at one of the same seminars that he was at. He spoke on the stage. Gosh, I'm trying to think, maybe 6 years ago down in the West Palm areas where I first heard him, and we're connected on social media. He is phenomenal. So just repeat those 3 questions again, what you should ask, and make sure that we have them. I have the first one. I have, what would I do if I wasn't receiving any pay for it?
Yeah, what would you do if nobody paid you?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And what makes you come alive?
I love that. That what makes you come alive is really the key trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I can just picture it. That's that passion. That's that deep burning desire of why we want to serve others, because it's not always easy being, like you say, starting out and being an entrepreneur, starting a small business and growing, because it's a lot of perseverance, but you have to really understand those 3 questions. That's very good.
In the business world, there is nothing tougher than getting started. And and even on rebranding, I mean, you got major companies out there that have attempted rebrands and basically had to fold back.
Pull back. I think Starbucks tried to do something like that a few years ago, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes.
And they lost some traction with their.
No, it wasn't It was Dunkin' Donuts trying to compete with Starbucks. They went from a donut shop trying to get into the coffee business. And it didn't work because people were going there for donuts.
So it's all your message. So I guess with that kind of question, what would your recommendations be then if you have to repair that brand reputation? If you try something and it's not working, or you do have your brand message out there, but something has tainted it, so now you got to repair it.
Well, from that point, what I would do, especially what I do with my clients, is I go back to what we do is we do a brand core document. So we go back to looking at that foundation. We look at your mission. We look at all the different things that kind of encompass a brand and its voice and its purpose. And we really define them and figure out, okay, is this how you want to be defined, or are you wanting to be defined in another way? If those things aren't in line, then we have to change something.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go back to that space and kind of start from there. That doesn't mean having to change a logo, but it might mean having to change its tone, changing its attitude, changing its personality, which at sometimes can actually come into by changing a logo, or it could just be changing colors. It could just be changing your tagline. But again, once we do that brand audit,
Mm-hmm.
We really need to find those things to be able to figure out what's the best move to help a company that's struggling to be able to attract more clients and to get better traction.
So it's really, as you say, coming back in and doing an audit, but it's also making sure, especially if you have employees and other people that are working with you, your partners, etc., they need to be on topic with this and understand your message, understand your brand core.
Oh, yes. And I could honestly go through probably another show just talking about employees. But I will tell you this. There was a client that I had that had an amazing brand, but had to fold because she had the wrong employees. You have to hire the right help to help you build that business. They have to be in line with whatever your brand core is.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not in line with your brand, then they shouldn't be working in your business at all. You need to find people that are passionate, that will help you build a brand besides just someone that's there to clock in 9 to 5. That's really where the key lies.
Very, very good point there. And I think that there are many companies, and I know when we had a larger company, we've experienced some of those same things. They have to be on message, and they have to be true to, mainly as they're the ones a lot of times dealing with the customers. So they have to understand and be on message. So again, resonating with the right people, attracting the right people to you, whether it's a customer or an employee. Is all what your foundation's going to do. Well, we were just talking about some of the, we're talking about small businesses, but we've mentioned some of the larger brands, and I know you've worked with a number of those over the years. But, the brands such as, Coca-Cola, Nike, Macy's, we've mentioned Disney, they spend tons of money. And sometimes I even kind of question, there are some of those Super Bowl commercials we see, and I wonder, my gosh, who were those teams that they brought on? Because some of these commercials made no sense to me, but which I know that's part of their brand reputation. But how can a small or a mid-sized business actually get some of the similar benefits on what would amount to a small or shoestring budget or investment? How do they compare? How do they compete with these large brands?
Well, there are a few answers I have to that. One of the things that we've done with our clients now is we build out a plan for them, and then from that plan, we figure out, okay, how fast do you want to go to build this out? Once we figure out how fast you want to go to build out all the elements of your brand, then we figure out, okay, what's feasible at a monthly rate? Because instead of just saying, okay, this is going to be a $10,000 investment, a $15,000 investment, it can be something where it's like, hey, you know what, this is $500 a month. Can you swing $500 a month? And I've realized that after, as I said, from working a few years in this business, that, it's important for these businesses to become successful because if they have more access to their own capital, without investing all of it in the initial front, they can do more things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was one of the reasons why we made the choice to go about building projects in that way, just because it gives them more access to be able to do other things, like invest in social media campaigns, like Facebook, or to start doing LinkedIn ads, or to start using, those are great examples, or even doing SEO. They can focus their investments in other areas besides just their initial brand foundation. But even to go along that point as well, social media has been a huge impact for a lot of these businesses. And you're able to gain a huge audience without having to invest a ton of money. And that's a great way to be able to grow your base. But where I would say that it's important is making sure that the web space and all of your other brand elements are set in stone to be able to start pushing out these campaigns, because they go hand in hand. If you build a strong campaign without a strong goal or an easy obtainable selling offer, then it's not going to work. But if we have a strong brand foundation and we have a consistent message and everything has a nice level of gravitation to it, then it's going to be easier for people to convert on the offer that you have within your campaign.
Very, very well said there, Jonathan. And that's why, to me, a business really needs to seek assistance and from the experts like you, so that they are definitely on target. Because one of the things I hear so often is a business starts and they know they have their passion, they know their expertise, but they don't understand the marketing. So they don't put the right attitude towards marketing and branding. And that's where they tend to not be able to succeed then. They neglect that, or they don't budget for that branding or marketing, to be able to build those funnels out. And to them, it's kind of like an afterthought. And I know we learned that when we had closed our web agency a number of years ago to really get onto the more of the the marketing strategies with our clients. And so many businesses, the first thing they did was they stopped marketing. And it made no sense to me, because then their businesses they had no message any longer. They were just scrambling. So this is where you really need to start, right in this core foundation here. I wanted to share real quick before we're down to just a couple of minutes here, but I wanted to share a quote that I came across, again, when I was just doing a little research for our show today. Is the quote is from Scott Cook, the P&G director. And he says, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It is what the consumers tell each other it is. And I think that summarizes everything you shared today, Jonathan. Starts with that foundation and knowing your why and sharing your brand story so that your consumers will really be the one that helps spread your brand and your reputation.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
I came across that quote, and I even just got goosies reading it, because I was thinking about, I came across this. I'm doing my strategy session, my workshop next week, and helping them understand the importance of understanding everything begins with who they are and their why, their story.
I mean, you've got the whole process that's there. You're going to start with your why for starting it. Coca-Cola's got a why. Then you start building into the process, and what people think you are is what people know you to be. And it is extremely difficult to alter that once it gets moving.
Again. Yeah, well, Jonathan, we are down to, like I said, the less than 60 seconds. So real quick, let everyone know your website again, and spell your name, your last name, so they know who and how they can connect with you on LinkedIn. You have 10 seconds.
Sure. Our website is gearedagency.com, and my last name is P as in Paul, Leska. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and we can, start the conversation and figure out where you want to go, what you want to build, and how we can build a plan to help you get there.
Phenomenal. And I'll definitely put all this information up on our So Social radio show page, as well as on our Facebook page there. So we, again, want to thank you so much, Jonathan, for being our expert guest today on branding. I couldn't have chosen anybody better than having you. So thank you. And everyone connect with us every Wednesday at 12 noon on talknetworkradio.com to the So Social Radio Show. Make it a great social week.
Bye.
Take care.